Okay, I'm fully in. This turnaround is for real.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up? Monday, welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Shaden. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you so much for making us your first stop right after the game to celebrate a fourth straight Carolina victory. Shout out to all the everydayers joining us, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, all our great Locked On Tar Heels insiders. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Okay, guys, it is another party. Can you believe it? Carolina wins in Tallahassee, 96-85. It's the most points FSU has given up all season long. The previous was 90 to Louisville. Carolina is now 18-11 overall, 11-6 in ACC play. And Ken Pom has already refreshed, and Carolina has jumped back into the top 40. They are right now 39th at Ken Pom. You just gotta keep winning. You just got to do it and let other teams lose around you. That is the situation Carolina is in. So far, 4 up, 4 down. And that would be Miami at home on Saturday and then at Virginia Tech ahead of the Duke game. Cannot let up. Got to keep pushing the gas to the pedal, right? Okay, so here's what we're going to do on our show post-game here. I see a bunch of you are already dropping comments, questions, observations, things like that into the comments section. Keep doing that. Keep filling that up. I'll get to those later on in the show. We'll take some questions, some observations. If there's some questions and other stuff I don't get to, I will hold on to those and use those for our Tuesday show. So keep pumping them in even if I don't get to it. As for what we'll do right now, we're going to make big picture observations. We're going to make specific observations about stats and things that happened in this game, how Carolina is pulling this off, all of that kind of stuff. And that's where we're going to start. I had written in my notes prior to the game, like this was Monday morning, maybe even Sunday night, I wrote this down. I feel like this game is truly going to be a great barometer of where the growth of this team has ascended to, the maturity of this team, their all-inness for each other, for one another. I think we thought we saw it with what Carolina did at home last Wednesday against NC State, what they did at home on Saturday against Virginia. We saw the beginnings of a sparkle of it against Syracuse the other weekend. But man, you come into this thing, and here's why I think this was a great barometer. Carolina is going to Tallahassee, a dangerous game against an FSU team that it's not just Carolina playing better. FSU's playing a lot better right now as well. I think both of these teams played a much higher level, higher basketball game than we expected to see. And I was grateful for that, all the more so because Carolina comes out with a double-digit victory. But this FSU team is playing for Coach Hamilton. They're playing loose. They're playing free. They're playing with nothing to lose because they literally got nothing to lose. Also, Carolina has this quick turnaround. It's always harder when you're the road team on the back end of this. Carolina didn't handle that well just a couple weeks ago at Clemson. They fell by, 20? And then they come in here against, again, a dangerous FSU team, and they win by double digits. I mean, good grief. They handled that quick turnaround well. And let's remember, we've talked about it. In this 6-game lead up to Duke, on paper, this is the toughest game of that stretch. It's the highest ranked team, the only one of them that's in the net top 100. And it's also on the road at Tallahassee, a place where Carolina often struggles against the length and athleticism of Florida State. Boy, now you cannot let up if you're the Tar Heels. The second you take a breath, the second you let your foot off the accelerator, you're done, right? You got to keep pushing. You got to keep pressing. So here's where we are now. Carolina has tied their longest winning streak of the season. It's up to 4. It's the first time all season long they've won 3 straight games by double digits. that being NC State, Virginia, and now this one. It was, close to it at Syracuse as well. And here's what I love about it is I truly believe this is a game that Carolina loses or has one of those one possession games earlier this season. Because let's just kind of replay the game script, right? Carolina gets out to a lead. It's not the explosive lead they've had the past 2 games at home against NC State and Virginia, but it is a lead. And then FSU just slowly starts taking back over, right? Finding a little bit of that lead. And Carolina got down by 34-30 in the first half. FSU was hitting everything. I think there was a stretch where they hit 10 of 11. But here's what I loved. Where Carolina earlier this season would have just kind of gone insulated with their offense, things would have bogged down. They just kept pushing, kept saying, like, things are not going well defensively right now, but let's keep scoring and maybe we'll figure it out on the defensive end. And they did enough of that. And so Carolina kept working. They eventually worked up to an 8-point lead there in the first half. FSU got it down to 6 by halftime. But I was really impressed with Carolina's resolve to build that back out. And then in the second half, built it even farther out. I think as much as 14. Was that the highest? No. That Elliott Cadeau 3 late right in front of the bench off the kick out. That was the J-Wash crazy rebound. Did you see that thing? My goodness. He like Odell Beckham Jr. that rebound, kicked it out to Elliott for a no. Okay, good. 3, right? Out there in the corner by the bench. So really interesting stuff there. So Carolina just kept pushing, got it out to 14 and then eventually 16. And this was another situation where we've watched it all season long. All right, Carolina's built the lead. Let's watch it crumble and fall apart. And here's the other part that I thought was so impressive by the Tar Heels. 4 different times in the second half, FSU cut it down to 6. On a couple of those, Carolina scored on literally the next possession to push it back out to 8 or 9. But literally all 4 times, go look at the box score, go look at the play-by-play. FSU cut it to 6 4 times in the second half. Carolina was the team to answer every one of those. FSU never cut it lower than 6. There was always a response, whether it was that Seth Trimble 3, the RJ step back 3, all of those, right? So important. And Carolina did a great job of not getting frazzled on the road and just handling their business, man. I love to see it. Here's where I want to go first. Yes, RJ's leading scorer, then Seth. I got to start with Cade Tyson. This is the 3rd straight game we've seen a new and different and confident Cade Tyson, unlike anything we've seen from a confidence standpoint this season. And here's what's cool about it. Just the fact that he's getting minutes shows that Coach Davis is seeing something from him in practice, because that's what Coach Davis always talks about. You earn your game time by your practice play. And when Cade comes in, man, he's confident. He's shot ready. He pulls the trigger because he knows that's what he's out there to do. And he missed his first 2 threes. They were good looks. They were the right looks for him to take. There was a corner 3 right in front of the FSU bench. I thought it looked just as good as the ones that have gone in lately, then had another one he took. And he missed them both. But I thought the important thing is that he kept going, man. Anytime Mark Campbell's been with us on our postgame show, he's talked about, like, I would rather you go 0 for 8 than 2 of 3. And that's what I love that Cade did. He said, all right, I've not hit yet. So what did he do? He wormed his way in, got an offensive rebound and putback that gave Carolina the lead back 36-34. Remember, I just told you FSU led 34-30. Carolina pushes back to tie it, and then Cade Tyson is the one that gives Carolina the lead back. Let's go a little bit later. Again, this game is tied 39. Cade Tyson gets the ball right in by the rim. Boom, layup. Possession, maybe it was the very next possession, just barely accidentally had to reposition himself for a 3, just barely stepped on the line. It was a deep 2, otherwise would have been a 3. But again, moves it from a 39-all tie, pushes out the lead to 43. And he's getting these minutes. He's getting some rebounds, some assists, just making smart plays. I think we are now starting to see the Cade Tyson we expected to come from Belmont. And it's what I like about it is the consistency of it, right? Not just one time, one off against a lesser opponent. This is 3 straight games against ACC opponents. Yes, lesser ACC opponents. Let's acknowledge that. but ACC opponents all the same. And on the road at FSU, a historically well-known athletic group of players that Cade Tyson did not look outmatched against. That's important, man, both for this season and he's got another year of eligibility. I'm just saying. You're starting to see it because I sure am. All right. There's more to get to. Carolina, several other things they did that I thought were important in this game. We got to talk about RJ Davis, that absurd mid-air changing of hands layup, an important block down the stretch, all sorts of great stuff. We'll get to all that here coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about our good friends at Prize Picks. March basketball, you guys, is almost here, and there's no better way to get in on that action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you pick more or less on at least 2 players' stat projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. It's fast, it's easy, and it keeps every game exciting. Prize Picks even offers weekly promos like tomorrow, Tuesday, will be Taco Tuesday, where you get discounted player projections for even more value. All right, it's time to go back and check because there were 2 Tar Heels that were on more or less for this game. RJ Davis, 15.5 points. I hope you went more because he got 20. Ian Jackson was set at exactly 11 points. Ooh, only 5 for Captain Jack in this game. So you would have split if you had gone more on both those Tar Heels. So download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Okay, now let's keep getting into the action here. I've pulled up the box score for those of you watching in real time on YouTube or watching back later. If you're listening to this thing, that's all right. You can go find the box score elsewhere. Here's what I want to talk about next is Carolina's offense has looked so much better. This is the 4th straight game now being over 1.3 points per possession. It was 1.5 for the game. Let's look in real time if that is the best of the season. Let me verify that. Yes, exactly 1.5 points per possession. That's absurd. Let's scroll through, find our points per possession. The highest Carolina has all year is 1.437, 148, 147. This was the highest efficiency in terms of points per possession Carolina has had all year. I think the previous high was NC State 2 games ago, 1.47. Oh, no, 1.486 against American was the previous high. This offense, man, it is absolutely rolling right now, and there it is. Now, something I thought Carolina did so smartly in this game. FSU is one of these teams that because of their athleticism, pause for a drink there. Because of their athleticism, they switch 1 through 5. It was clear and obvious that Carolina was committed to exploiting that throughout the game. And consequently, that's why RJ Davis and Seth Trimble are your leading scorers in this game, because they would get a big switched onto him. RJ hit multiple step back threes. RJ got to the rim. Seth got to the rim, multiple and ones that he completed. It's just great stuff. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different Tar Heels finish in double digits. And I just told you that one of them was not named Ian Jackson. Are you kidding me with that right now? Carolina, again, 6 double-digit scores, and none of them are Ian Jackson. That's crazy, man. We will take it, though. That's good stuff for the Tar Heels. Now, let's talk about RJ Davis. RJ had been so hot for a while, but he had cooled off lately. But in this game, he is Carolina's leading scorer with a very efficient night, 20 points, 5 of 9 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, 7 of 8 at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, and here he goes again. 5 assists, 0 nada turnovers for our guy. I mean, I don't know. Just RJ's doing everything now. He's coming along, and it's great. No steals, but he did have a block like right at the end of the game as FSU was trying to make a little comeback, a little push. RJ says no at the rim, and literally that was Carolina's only block of the game. Pretty funny stuff there. But then Seth Trimble, man, I thought Seth was locked in, connected, 17 points, 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 3 of 4 at the free throw line, just 2 rebounds, interestingly, for Seth. He was not the leading rebounder in this game. But man, his athleticism was on full display in a multitude of ways for the Tar Heels tonight in this game. And that's so critical for what they continue to do. And when you look at all of that, Carolina's just doing it. And with Seth bringing that off the bench, it's a moment to say Carolina's bench again contributes a big way. Coming into this game, Carolina had 3 straight games of 26 or more points off the bench. They had not done that all season. 34 at Syracuse, 43 against NC State, 26 against Virginia, and tonight, a 38 piece off the bench. So 4 straight games now of 26 or more points off the bench. That's the longest streak of the season. And 3 of those 4 games, they've been over 30. I mean, it really is crazy, this turnaround, guys, what Carolina is doing. Let's talk rebounding, because it's well known that FSU is always a big team, and they are again this year. They're the 2nd tallest team in the nation, behind only the Duke Blue Devils. In the last 2 games, Carolina was plus 19 on the glass and plus 14 on the glass against Virginia. That's 2 of the 3 highest rebounding margins of the entire season. Well, guess what? Here we go again. Carolina out rebounds Florida State, the 2nd tallest team in the nation, 35-21. That's again plus 14. So the last 3 games on the glass, Carolina is plus 19, plus 14, and plus 14. Not so coincidentally, overlapping with when Carolina has switched to this bigger lineup. They're doing it, man. They're getting in and making it happen. The leading rebounder in this game is Van Allen Lubin. Second leading rebounder is Jae'lyn Withers with 5. And then you just got everyone chipping in. Ty Claude played like just less than a minute, but everyone else that played had at least 1 rebound, and Ian was the only one that didn't have multiple rebounds. The other part of that is that Carolina had the offensive rebounding 13 to just 4 for FSU. And as you would imagine, that means that Carolina then dominated the second chance points 24-6. Just everywhere you look, Carolina is doing things that they haven't been doing consistently all season long. And that's why they're stringing these together, because they're figuring out how to make it happen game after game after game. Yes, even on the road. And, you know, the 3 offensive rebounds allowed to Virginia Saturday was a season low, and then just 4 offensive rebounds allowed to Florida State in this game. I mean, it's just, I don't know what, you know, how to keep talking about this, but there's so many great things. Let's go to 3-point shooting. Carolina has been shooting so well from 3 lately. But the other thing I've noted, not just that they're doing well, but that it's coming from a multitude of players. In the last 3 games at Syracuse, 5 different Tar Heels hit a 3. Against NC State, 5 different Tar Heels, and against Virginia, 4. Well, guess what? There were 6 of them in this game. Elliot Cadeau, 2 of 6. RJ Davis, 3 of 5. Jae'lyn Withers, 1 of 2. Seth Trimble, 2 of 5. Ian Jackson, 1 of 3. And Jalen Washington, that beautiful one, just trailing up at the top of the key there, man. Everything you look at, it's like, oh, that's why Carolina's doing better, because they're doing what they're supposed to do from beyond the arc. Carolina had been so hot in those last couple games. I'll have the numbers from it, from these last 4 games combined when we do the full Tuesday show. But yet again, Carolina goes 10 of 26 from 3. That's 38.5%. Just continuing to raise that season average. It's crazy how it's coming up. And what's so impressive to me is that they do that in a game where FSU shoots an uncharacteristic 10 of 20 from 3. I mean, they were absolutely on fire. Let me see if that's the most they've hit this year. It ties the most threes they've hit all season long, 10 threes. And like, they're bad. They're a terrible 3-point shooting team. And so for Carolina, like, I'm more impressed by that. The fact that Carolina is able to overcome a hot shooting night from the Seminoles. I'm just so wildly impressed by that capability from Carolina to just find ways to get it done. What about free throws? We come into this game where FSU is one of the top teams in the nation in terms of getting to the free throw line, where they do so at a high rate in terms of getting there in volume of how many they make. Their percentage is not all that great, but they get there a ton. But they also commit a bunch of fouls. So Carolina basically needed to play them even at the free throw line, and that's what happened. FSU's 21 of 28 at the free throw line. That's 75%. And you think, wow, that's a lot of free throws for FSU. Sure is, until you see that Carolina shot 31 of them. And obviously both those numbers are a little bit, or at least Carolina's numbers a little bit inflated from FSU sending them to the line late. But now, fourth straight game, Carolina is at the line more than 20 times in the game. It's so wild how it's just right here at this stretch of these 4 games, and then the most recent 3 with the change in the starting lineup. It has taken on its own life. We've been talking so much about Jae'lyn Withers, and here's why I want to shout him out in this game. It's not that he had some absurd stat line where he absolutely went off and did all these crazy things. It's just that he was solid. He did what he needed to do, and it wasn't crazy. It didn't have to be crazy, but he wasn't hurting the team. Jay Witt finishes with a very quiet 11 points on 2 of 3 shooting, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, had that beautiful, from the 3-point line, had that one from the right wing, one of the first buckets of the game, and 6 of 9 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, the second leading rebounder, an assist, and 0 turnovers for Jae'lyn Withers. You guys, it doesn't have to be spectacular, but I'll take that from Jay Witt every night of the week. That's so good, man. It's so good. And that's what Carolina is looking for from him. To that point about turnovers, Carolina as a team only commits 8. I think 5 of those were in the first half, if I remember correctly. Yep. And that means just 3 in the second half. And that's going to help you get wins on the road if you are doing things like that. So Carolina keeps pushing, doing all the things you want to see. There's a lot of more statistical data to talk about, a lot more storylines. But what I want to make sure that we do is have good time to get to all of your observations about this game, all your questions, because I want to make sure to hit those. So that's where we're going to go next. We'll go to the comments section right after this. Right after I tell you about FanDuel is what it is. When the game tips off, the NBA action, man, it's just getting started. And there's no better place to get in on that action than FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you missed the opening tip or you want to get in on it for a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in on the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, good news. You can combine some of these live bets together into a same game parlay. And then if and when you win, you get paid instantly. I hope, by the way, you took Carolina to not only win this game, but cover, because the line was 2.5 points, and they did. I think I said Carolina by 8. I think I said 80-72 was the line I went with. So if you listen to me, you got it right. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Again, that's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Oh, baby, we got to get to the comments section, and there are a crap ton, I think is the official term, of those. I'm going to leave the box score up for everyone watching so that we can look to that. I love, this comes from Drew 1986. Drew says, I loved the trailing 3 at the top of the key by Jay Wash in the first. Yes, found himself open and pulled the trigger. He says, when we push the ball, we can get those open looks to our trailing bigs. I believe in Jay Wash and Jay Witt to hit those. Man, that's a good word there, Drew. And Jay Wash was a perfect example of that. And Carolina, it just feels like they're making a lot of smart plays on the run. Like Drake Powell's athleticism is on full display. What did Drake do in this game, by the way? Did he keep his turnover-free streak going? No, he had a turnover. Dadgummit. Drake Powell was going for his 6th straight game without a turnover. But guess what? He had 3 assists and just 1 turnover. We'll absolutely take that. That means he's got 13 assists and 1 turnover in his last 6 games. Yeah, absolutely. 7 points, 3 of 6 from the field. Missed both threes he took, 1 of 4 at the free throw line. Drake's been struggling a little bit at the free throw line. 2 rebounds and a steal in 24 minutes of action. And here's the other great thing I want to shout. I'm just noticing this in real time. Forgive me. Carolina is utilizing the bench so much. There's so much trust there. RJ Davis played 33 minutes. Nobody else played. The next highest minutes was 27, Elliot Cadeau. Who is this version of Hubert Davis, man? This is great. These guys are going to be so much more rested and ready if they can make this final push, and I think they should be able to. But anyway, from Drew's point, Love what Carolina's doing in transition, looking ahead, finding all sorts of great stuff. Yeah, lots of stuff we already talked about here. Blanton Stamey says, if we are 20-12, how many ACC tournament games do we need to win to get in? It's a great question from Blanton. So as we said, Carolina right now, following this game, has moved to 18-11 on the season, 11-6 in ACC play. My assumption that from Blanton here is that means Carolina beats Miami and wins at Virginia Tech next Tuesday and then loses at home to Duke. That's really the problem for Carolina is that's the only game you can afford to lose. If you lose to Miami or Virginia Tech, sorry, Bubble, you popped just as quickly as Carolina has built it up these last 4 games. So if Carolina goes 20-12, beating Miami and Virginia Tech, losing to Duke at home, a lot of this, Blanton, honestly, is going to depend on what other teams on the bubble do around Carolina. Because, if Oklahoma, who picked up a win, a desperately needed win on Saturday, if they get back to their losing ways, they probably fall behind Carolina. You've got Arkansas and Indiana. You got this whole mix. So a lot of it depends on what those other teams do, both down the closing stretch and in their own conference tournament. As for Carolina, here's the other mix on this, Blanton and others, is it depends on what Carolina's ACC seed is. Immediately following this game, let me tell you the update on the conference standings here. North Carolina, I believe, is a half game behind both SMU and Wake. Yes. So Duke 15-1 leads the way. Clemson and Louisville are actually tied at 14-2 for second place right now. SMU and Wake are tied in fourth at 11-5. Carolina, by virtue of playing tonight, has an extra game up on them and is 11-6. So a half game behind SMU and Wake. Obviously holds the tiebreaker over SMU, but not Wake. That would be great if Carolina had won both of those games. And so right now, Carolina would be sitting in, 6th position. And so what I kind of like about that is it actually gives them an extra game to it. That would be a single bye situation. And Carolina, I think at that point, would need to win probably 2. And some of that, Blanton, depends on who the opponents are that Carolina plays. You're really hoping for those to be maybe like a quad 2 and a quad 1 game. But if they somehow worm their way into a top 4 seed, that means you're not playing until the quarterfinals, which double-edged sword. And here's what I mean. At that point, you can't really take a bad loss because whoever's come through the bracket to play you is going to be at worst probably a quad 2 game on a neutral site. If you can win that game and win in the semis, I think you've basically punched your ticket, again, depending on whatever. So I think 2 is kind of the magic number there, Blanton. That's a good question from you there. This is just funny from Drew. I just want to say it in passing. Cade is like an expensive treadmill, sits in the basement and never gets used. Maybe tonight changes that. Again, 3 straight games of him looking confident and different. I'm really, really proud of him. Puerto Rican vegan musician socialist, one of my favorite names here, always hopping in, says, seems weird that Ian couldn't get on the court tonight. I know Trimble was playing well, but so was Powell, Withers, and Jae'lyn. I thought we saw the end of the 3-guard lineup. Here's what's interesting to me. Let's look back at Ian's minutes. Again, as I said, he only scored 5 points, only took 6 shots, 1 of 3. And stuff like that. He did play 21 minutes. And again, with the balanced minutes allotted tonight, that 21 is actually kind of commensurate with what a lot of other guys did in this game. It's just the minutes were really spread out, very healthily so. And so I thought it was just coaches just bringing guys in and out, trying to find combinations to stop FSU, because Carolina defensively wasn't that great tonight, right? Like FSU finished shooting 54% from the game, 50% from 3. And just Carolina was searching for combos, played a lot of zone in the first half. It didn't do much to dissuade FSU early, but was part of Carolina taking that lead late in the second half. And so found something on that end of things. But I think Puerto Rican, I think it's just a function of spreading the minutes around in this game. But we do need to keep eyes on it because Ian didn't play a ton of minutes. Was it the Virginia game or the NC State game where I think he played just about 18 there? So there is. And then, going back to this bubble situation, Michael Riggs says this truth, and it's the reality. Our biggest issue is our record versus quad one. The numbers say that in these first couple years of the net, no team has made it into the NCAA tournament with only one quad one win, which is where Carolina is sitting right now. There have been several that have made it with two, and that's where I've continued to say, like, that FSU, or excuse me, the Wake Forest loss really hurts. Had Carolina won that game, which they lost by 1 point, that's a quad one win. Obviously, there are multiple other opportunities Carolina had, but that one kind of stings because it's in the ACC, and Wake is just ahead of Carolina for most people on the bubble right now. That one really sits and stings me. But here's a couple other things I'll say. Duke is obviously going to be a quad one opportunity. You win that, boy, you feel good. And the other thing is, once we get to the ACC tournament, keep in mind those wins count towards your quad wins. On a neutral site, I think you get top 50, if I'm thinking correctly on the numbers. And so it's not like 1 through 30 like at home, or 1 through 75 like on the road. So you do get a little more margin there for a win that could be a quad one win. And again, even if that's the second, that could be enough. So got to keep working and pushing there. But we really do have a chance at this thing, man. Really have a shot at getting in. I'll remind us that Joe Lunardi on Sunday had Carolina as his top team, like the last team out of the tournament, or last team that didn't make the field, at the very top of first four out. When Jerry Palm from CBS refreshed his bracket today, Monday, he had Carolina second in that, just first four out. And so Carolina is where they need to be. Again, just keep winning. Let other teams around you lose. Okay. Samuel Gonzalez, I want to put this up because I feel so much like you right now. I was apprehensive about this game, and I'm just glad it's over and we were able to get the win. We definitely getting better, but I still see some lapses on defense. You're right. You are so right, Sam. By the way, I was right with you. I was apprehensive. I feel like a lot of times I'm just like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. In the midst of the game, I'm trying to be professional and take notes and do other stuff. But I don't know about you guys, man. I was feeling I don't know if you can hear that. I was feeling my heart beating out of my chest in this game when FSU would cut it down to 6 those times in the second half. Just to be very transparent about it, that's how I was feeling. In fact, I just dropped my baseball. I was thinking about it all over again. And so just all throughout the day today, I was like, I feel like what Carolina's doing is legit, but it's just been NC State and Virginia at home. I need to see it somewhere else. And they did it. They were able to keep pushing off every FSU advance, man. And that's what you need to see, especially on somebody else's floor. But yes, got to clear up that defense, right? There were several switches that Carolina didn't communicate well and would give FSU a free run to the rim, things like that. And there it is. So, man, good stuff though. Winning both sides of this Saturday to Monday, especially again, being on the road. We will absolutely take that. Maybe find one more question or things. Andrew Owen says, how do you join the Discord? The old link in the bio doesn't work. I need to look at that, Andrew, because I thought I had set it to be a permanent link. So I need to look back at it. I will post that from my Twitter as soon as we hop off here. And we'll get that going. And so there it is. A lot of those. I'm seeing a lot of these must still be from before we even started, because Joel Rubenstein says, where is Shade? I'm coming, man. I'm coming. Sorry, I had to get my kids to bed. Good stuff there. Okay, here we go again. Let me dive down and see if we can get any other questions. I'd love to grab just at least one more. Yeah, man, so many good points from people coming in here. Hey, Coach Rob's in the chat. What's up, Coach Rob? Go Heels, playing great. I hope everyone saw Coach Rob's pictures and videos from being at the Dean Dome on Saturday. Obviously got to be down in the tunnel after the game, see some of the coaching staff and dap them up. So Coach Rob, and then I think literally in the comments after the Virginia game said, hey, just got to ride up the elevator with Phil Ford. No big deal. So that's good stuff there. You'll love that. Well, gang, I'm just seeing a lot of observations, not many questions. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get out of here for tonight. But I'm going to go get ready to record the Tuesday show. So I'll keep scanning through the chat, seeing what else we got, because I know there's going to be more to get to, more observations from you guys, more questions. And I always think those are fun to get in on our shows. And so I want to make sure to be able to do that. If you're diving in with us and it's your first time, we're so glad that you're here. Welcome into Locked On Tar Heels. If you've not subscribed to the show on YouTube, make sure you do that right now so you don't miss a single second of Locked On Tar Heels. We're coming to you live after every game and every day of the week, talking great Carolina stuff, lots of great content, and we'd love for you to be part of this community. If you want to do that even deeper, not only can you subscribe on YouTube, which we are like 100 subscribers away from 10,000. Help us get there. You can be the next one. But we got the great Locked On Tar Heels Discord we were just talking about. I'm going to go double check that link here in just a second. When we're done, I'll post it on my Twitter account so others can hop in on that. If you want to go even deeper, have direct access to me and free unlimited access to all my stats and charts and data, join the Locked On Tar Heels Insiders program. That link is also in the show notes, and it's a great way to help support our show and keep us going. You guys, another win. What is this team, man? This is fun. This is why you stay in. This is why you don't give up, because you never know when a run like this might happen. Miami Saturday, Virginia Tech next Tuesday, and then we'll see what we can do with the Dukies, but cannot look past either one of those games because that's when you get clipped and it's all over. All right, man. Hope you enjoy the rest of this night celebrating. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again tomorrow on the show, but until then, peace.